So I've spent 8 years working in tech at this point, from software engineering all the way to my current role in data analytics. And what I've noticed is there are some key lessons that I would have told myself if I were starting over again today to save me a whole lot of trouble and actually fast track my trajectory into getting promoted and moving up the ladder. So if you're asking, who is this guy? Well, my name is Zazo. I've been working in tech, like I said, for 8 years, and I've held various roles from software quality assurance engineer to software engineer, and now as a senior data analyst. So I'm about to teach you these lessons. So school is in session. Is that a hashtag bar? I don't know. Leave it in the comments if it is. Let's get into the first lesson. So coding skills get you in, but real problem solving is what's going to keep you there and get you promoted. So what do I mean by this? You can do all the leak code problems, you can know syntax of every single language, but that's not going to do you any good if you cannot solve real business problems. There have been plenty of things that I didn't know and that I've got handed that I just frankly had to figure it out. There's no better way to explain it. So this is one thing, but the next lesson is really what can make you stand apart, especially at the beginning if you're trying to get your first job or even get promoted. So lesson number 2, communication beats technical knowledge any day. You want to know why? Because you can do the greatest work behind the scenes and code up, or do the greatest data analysis ever, but if you can't explain that clearly to non-technical people, then what are we doing? You just did something that nobody knows exists. So this is a very key lesson that I learned the hard way. When I came from software engineering, it was very much you just did your work, you just made your feature, you just shipped your feature, and that was it. Communication, very little to maybe not any on certain days. But when I switched to data analytics, boy, I'll tell you, it looked like I was a superstar technically, but my communication was cheeks, honestly. But as I've been there, I realized how much being able to yap can really differentiate two people in the same role. So the best engineers or analysts always know how to communicate their findings, communicate their technical ability, and those types of things to non-technical people. And I'll give you a couple examples of what this looks like. That can be just translating requirements. So somebody gives you requirements and you're able to not only translate that to technically what you're going to build, but also being able to build something that solves those requirements or solves that problem, and being able to spit it back out in a way that is very easy for the business side to understand. This is another one that I see juniors and noobs not do enough. Obviously, this comes with time, but being able to push back on bad requests or requests that just don't point towards the company's goal. This is very important, and this is something that is hard for a lot of people. And this next thing is turning analysis or turning your features into business decisions or how they affect the business, cost savings, or either profit or revenue generation. This next one is something that people get confused a lot, so let's get into it. Your job or your job title is not the same as your impact. Just because you're a software engineer or a data analyst does not mean on its own that you actually have impact. So back when I was a software engineer, we had on-call and we also had to do work production tickets as well as develop. Well, did my tickets for the day. I'm good. I'm going to get promoted. I'm on my way to promotion. No, what I did today affect the business. Did I save the team time, money, or did I lower some type of risk? All right, so on the next lesson, this is everything that a beginner gets wrong, and I did it too. This next one is you actually don't need to know everything prior to getting hired or even in the role. The key thing is that you learn fast. So you'll see on job postings where there's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo, maybe multiple different coding languages, maybe 3 years of experience. But this is what I'm going to tell you. 3 years of being a bad software engineer is not the same as being 1 year very dedicated, very focused, and really know what you're doing. So that's why I encourage people to apply before they're actually ready. And I'm going to let you in on a secret. You will never know everything. So that should never be the goal. Tech changes constantly. Your speed speed of learning is what's going to be key in any of these roles that you're in. So you want to learn your fundamentals, you want to use documentation and AI to your advantage, and you want to ask good questions. This is underrated. Ask good questions, people. And you know the only way to ask good questions is by being able to communicate. So that leads me into my next one, which is soft skills compound faster than your technical skills. For the people in the back, all right, what the hell does this mean? This is another part of communication, but things like empathy, leadership, being able to write, and just essentially as you grow in your role, having trust follow you throughout each of these roles. There's a funny little story that I'll tell you about how I realized this in myself. I was a junior data analyst and I did not speak much, very much introvert, worked on a project. The senior that was over the project went out on parental leave. It was left up to me to finish the project. The business partner that I was working with went straight to my manager after me and her had a meeting, and she said, I don't think he knows what is going on or what he is doing. And I said, ooh, that kind of hurt. But here's the reality. I had already had the work done. The problem is that business partner felt as if she could not trust me because I did not build trust over time. That's the key there. So this becomes more and more important as you're in these bigger meetings, making these discussions or having these discussions with these executives or top level tech people, or even with the CEO of the company, president, director, whatever. Trust is going to be one of the most important things, because at the end of the day, they want to pass a project on to someone who they know it will get handled the correct way with the business in mind. So as you can see from my story, this is going to lead me to the next lesson, and that is tech careers are not always linear, and that's normal. As you can see, I went what you would say non-traditionally. I didn't have a computer science degree. I went into software engineering, and then I pivoted to data analytics. A lot of people would say that's pretty backwards. You're supposed to do the opposite, but it's okay. It's all right. I built skills and compounded skills along the way, and that's what's important. Things like roles changing. You could linearly go up the software engineering route all the way up each level if you would like to, but there might become a time where you just don't want to do it anymore and you want to pivot, and that's fine. And there are some times where you're like me, and even at this, stage in my career, you might want to pivot back to something else like software engineering, or sometimes you just can't make up your mind. So, and what I'm saying is it's okay. And the next thing, which is the last lesson for you, is important. It's last, but definitely not least. And this is going to be true for a lot of you out there. Consistency will beat talent over time. So if you're in this game for the long term, consistency is going to beat talent. And this is why most people that are talented tend to not be as consistent, because they have been able to get away with being talented. However, that person that may not be as talented may not be able to get away with some of the things that this other person does, but they get 1% better every single day. Years down, years later, that consistent person will beat out that talented person, I would bet 10 out of 10 times. Now, if you are the combination of both being extremely talented and consistent, then you might not be able to be stopped, right? And you also might not be even watching this video. So the key thing here is 8 years was not about being the smartest, at least in my specific journey. It's really about not quitting, learning fast, adapting, and improving all of your skills, not only just technical. Soft skills matter, even though I did not believe that coming into it. But this is the end of the video. Learn how to yap, learn how to code, learn all the things you need to learn. All right, love, peace, and chicken grease. I'm out.